Music is all around us. It is the universal language. It evokes many feelings and is something to be shared and celebrated. You have found a place where all kinds of music will be celebrated. So welcome. You are tuned in to the Zen Sessions, presented by Here to Zen magazine.
Hey everyone, welcome to the latest episode of the Zen Sessions. Today, it's a threesome. We have Mert joining us as well as Curt, and we're going to talk all things Ghost. Their new album is out this Friday.
Sorry, I gotta dress the part for this. Yeah, now I'm ready.
All right, so yeah, the new album is out Friday. We're going to go through some tracks. We're going to go through some likes and dislikes. So I'm actually going to start because I'm probably the least familiar with Ghost of the three of us. So I'm going to ask Curt to give us like a quick rundown of the band.
So they started off in 2010 in Sweden as a very mystery-shrouded occult rock band, like a 70s doom metal band that may have opened for Black Sabbath back in the 70s. And they had this evil satanic pope as their frontman, and that was Papa Emeritus 1. It's all masterminded by Tobias Forge, who is the lead singer and Papa Emeritus. Every album has a different Papa Emeritus in sequential numbering, with different costumes and makeup, playing a different character, but sounding exactly the same for every album, because awesome. With a backing band made of nameless ghouls, session musicians and touring musicians wearing spooky masks and robes. It's good fun. Yeah, is that a good enough intro?
Yeah, did I hear like that Sean from White Zombie was rumored to be one of the ghouls at one point?
Yeah, and the ex-keyboardist from Lordi as well at one point, and both of those were proven to be incorrect. So
right.
They don't really name their nameless ghouls. Some obviously fans are obsessive, and the names of a lot of them have been revealed and released. And I think they've already worked out who's on this tour.
Right.
But for the most part, they are just nameless ghouls, and they all dress with the same masks and same costumes, and just contain anonymity on stage.
So what album number is this?
We're on album 5, and I think we've had 3 EPs, 2 or 3 EPs in between that as well.
When do they come on like your radar, Mert?
I think there's some. Look, mates of mine got into Ghost ages ago. They said you got to hear this band, like the 70s, cool sort of sounding, metal band, and they couldn't really explain it. I thought, okay, I'll give it a listen. So probably really came to a peak. I remember driving back. I think I was driving back from Lonnie one day, and I listened to the new releases on Spotify, and I heard Ghost bits and pieces, Cerise and a few of the other songs they released, some of their heavy songs. But Dance Macabre came on, and I thought, holy shit. It was that moment, when I first heard a Kiss song, when I first heard a Judas Priest song, a Metallica song, it was that moment going, holy fuck, what is this, man? That song was on repeat the whole fucking drive. I was driving back from 11 o'clock, and that bad boy was on repeat. Then I really invested a lot of time into Ghost and realised what the hell have I been missing? Much to a few of my good mates saying, mate, I've been telling you this for ages. So, as Tobias said, he wants Ghost to sound like that 70s band you haven't heard of, and that's what they are. They're a 70s rock band. They're a metal band. They're everything, man. So that really was a pivotal moment I remember when I heard that song. Every song with Ghost is different. So for me, that was the journey.
And then did you get a download? You saw it download?
Yeah, sort of a download. I'm sorry I ran into this gentleman here decked out in his face paint. So I'm sure I said good day to him. We've got a photo somewhere. I'm sure it was you. Download was awesome. And obviously, it was that 2019, yesterday, 2019 at the, is it Tivoli? I can't.
Tivoli.
Yeah, the Tivoli. Yep.
Yeah, so literally yesterday, 2 years ago, they were rocking that. So, and download. So, yeah, I couldn't get enough. Just wanted more. So, saw both those shows, which was really funny because I couldn't get a ticket. And there was a whole drama getting a ticket. Ended up seeing 2 shows, which was awesome. Front row. set list, you name it. It was just magical. I even missed out on Slayer for that. Slayer's final tour, Ghost. And for me to do that, man, that's a big deal. So
pretty high up, yeah.
I remember you messaging me after download, and you said, like, my ribs are hurt from the barricade, and it was totally worth it. And I think I remember something about maybe some young tacker getting a stray elbow or a leg or something. Yeah.
There's a bit of nudging going on, you know, all fun.
A bit of keeping your space. And
yeah,
for Curt,
laugh, we have fun.
And for you, Curt, how many times is it for you now? Because they came to like BDO, didn't like they came down like a big day out days.
They were out. See, I didn't get into Ghost as early as I probably should have. I used to buy Metal Hammer, and Metal Hammer's the big proponents of theirs. And so I remember getting like one of the magazines in 2011 and Papa Emeritus One's on the cover. And I was like, I don't want to listen to this black metal crap. Fuck no. Which was like, cool. That was the dumbest decision I've ever made. And I had a bunch of friends that were into it, and I'd heard little bits and pieces on and off, but I didn't really get into them until I'd heard a bit of the Meliora album, and I'd bought that. And it was cool, and I really liked the Puppet 3 Mask and the Nameless Ghouls for that era. But Square Hammer dropped, and I was like, holy fuck, what is this? What is this hook? God, and just from that point was like, no, that's it. Cool. That song was like my most played song for 3 years in a row. Because it just hits every note with that. It's just perfect. So I've only seen Ghost once. I didn't make it to the download shows. I did do the Tivoli though. We were second from the front at the Tivoli, and I was dressed as Papa Emeritus 3 in my black and white suit, which came out as black and very, very brown. It was disgustingly hot. Just unbelievable. I pretty much had to throw the thing out because it was just trashed at the end of it. But it was such a cool. At that point, they'd been playing all these stadium shows across the world, and it was like, sweet, we got them in a 1,500 person venue.
Less,
like,
yeah.
Just there, it was like, oh, holy fuck, it was great. So,
and I got told they pretty much bought the entire back line in, and they were ridiculously loud.
Unbelievably loud. They couldn't fit their stage riser on stage. They did have the backdrop, or most of whatever they could bring up on that, but they had their full the cannons for the confetti and mummy dust and everything like that, and it was just fucking brutal. It was awesomely fun. Great show, hell of a show.
And they're out like early for the release at the moment, because they're out with Volbeat at the moment, I think, in the States. So they've done some shows with Volbeat. So
yeah, the response to that's been really cool as well. One of my friends went to the New York show and thought he's seen Ghost once, which was for a metal, like a full metal show in New York back in like 2011.
Yep.
And Ghost were under the opening act, and he thought they were crap and walked out. And it wasn't until he was like, oh, I'm sure I've been, holy fuck, I was at that gig. Oh my God, and because he's now a diehard Ghost fan. So big regrets with that. And so he saw them first on the pre-Impera tour, and thought they were fantastic. Just amazing show live in the giant arena, playing a bunch of the new stuff.
Yeah, they're playing pretty big places, aren't they, too?
Yeah, like 10,000 people arenas, 15,000 person arenas.
Yeah,
big.
That's good. And for me, in the days of the YouTube concert goer that doesn't look at the band and looks at their phone and films it to Facebook and YouTube live the entire gig, they're pretty ballsy going out pre-tour. Like, I don't know how many songs from the album are in the set, but they're pretty ballsy going out and without the album dropping. Yeah,
there's not, I think on the current set list, it's only 1 or 2 songs off the new album. Because I know they're playing Hunter's Moon, which is dead center on the new album. And they're opening with the new album opener and with Kaisarian, which is the big title track or the big first track off the album.
Yeah, the first track, yeah.
And so I think it's just those two, and then their cover of Enter Sandman, which isn't technically on the album, but I guess would be the closest thing to a new song that they've done. So it's an interesting choice with that too, especially that the most recent singles aren't on the tour.
Okay. Enter Sandman, did they do that for that Blacklist thing, or was that just something they did?
No, they did that for the new that big compilation album that Metallica put out.
Yeah,
So,
It was a very cool cover version of that song. Very different.
Definitely.
The thing about Ghost is, they got their own sound. They're very unique. And that they had their own sound to that song, which was really cool. And I thought, this is going to be interesting. You're going to do it or you're not going to do it. They did it really well. Diehards may disagree, but I thought it was a great cover.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of when bands do note for note cover. Like unless you're going to really go like tribute style and like really try to mimic the voice.
Yeah.
Like I think, to go off topic, the best cover I've heard lately is the new Kiss cover on the Corey Taylor album. He just
I haven't heard it yet. What song do they cover?
Got to Choose.
Oh, yeah, that's
and at the end, when the solo comes out, instead of going back in, they go out with the riff to Love Her All I Can.
Oh, okay.
And
I'm gonna have to give that a listen.
And it's great because the drums are in time. I didn't say that. The drums are powerful and untriggered. I didn't say that. And there's a drummer drumming them.
Oh,
You didn't say that.
Didn't say that. Yeah, it's a very faithful cover because Corey can pull off Paul Stanley. And you've got Zach Throne, who plays in Bruce Kulick's band, in Corey's band. So your backing vocals are sorted. You've got Tooch, his guitar player from Stone Sour, and he's also in Black Star Riders, who is the freakishly huge Kiss fan.
nice.
Yeah. And they all wore Kiss makeup on the cover of the EP.
Sick.
Yeah, it's a 5-piece band, so there's a Vinnie Vincent on the cover.
Oh, that's unique. They don't do that often.
And it's approved. It's endorsed.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the band were like, yeah, go for it. It's a cool. I can't believe you haven't heard that.
Yeah, I don't know. The CMFT album was kind of like, some interesting stuff, but
I love it for that reason. I think it's just so retarded. It's great.
I like a little bit of weird music. It's good.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of change. I'll have to give it a listen. There you go. That's my listening. Listening to tomorrow. I've got 4 days before the new album, before the new Ghost album drops. I got to fill it with something.
I'm amazed Ghost haven't done a Kiss cover, or am I mistaken?
No, they haven't done a Kiss cover. They haven't done many covers as far as like super, of another song.
Yeah.
The one that's a really good one is off their Opus Eponymous, the Japanese release, is a cover of the Beatles' Here Comes the Sun, but in super doomy stoner 70s rock, and it is just
I've got to look that because I love that song.
Fantastic. It's so good. It's way to turn a really, really cutesy Beatles song into something fucking ominous. It's great.
I'm gonna, like, when we're done, I'm gonna totally find it. All right, so we've done our little listening party for the album and gone away with our thoughts. So I'm just gonna throw out tracks. So it's pronounced Imperium, I guess, the first track, or Imperium, depends on how you want to call it.
Let me have a look at the track listing, and Imperium.
Yeah, so that's like a.
I think this.
You what?
So, man, this bad boy should be some sort of Olympic Games opener, some national anthem, because it builds up to this massive sort of national anthem feel to it. It's got such a, it just sets the scene. This album. So sorry to jump in there, man. I apologize when we were listening to this album. I didn't mean to keep running backwards and forwards to the toilet. Just every song, seriously, man, rubbing one out every time.
Oh, that's what that was.
Anyway, so I'm sorry about that, and I didn't mean to. Yeah. Anyway, good.
Album shouldn't have to come with a splatter warning, dude. It's just
and a blue light.
Oh,
seriously. This
like
one
neon.
reminds me. This opening little sequence with a classic, I call iconic Ghost solo. It's just got that sound. It's just that big build up to what is going to be something special. That's my thoughts on this bad boy.
What about you, Curt?
Yeah, I really like it it's something very different as a Ghost intro. The very, you get the classic, as you said, classic harmonized Ghost guitars, works really, really nicely. And it's that slow build up into it as it, builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. And then immediately punches in the face with Kaisarian. It just works. It works really nicely as an intro. It's one of my favorite pieces, one of my favorite instrumental pieces that Ghost have done, which is cool. So
So as the non-Ghost guy, I'm actually going to pair it and Kaisarian together and say it's Jim Steinman, Bad Out of Hell.
Very.
The two of them together. It could have been on Bad Out of Hell.
Yep. Very. It's got a very classic 70s stadium rock.
I like the fact that it's produced, but to the point that it stops before it's overproduced. Like everything's in its place and you can hear everything perfectly, like with a produced album.
Yeah.
But it's gotten to the point where it's on that verge where someone else would have manipulated it to make it totally perfect. And it's like someone took Bad Out of Hell and, like, say Tobias remixed Bad Out of Hell with his shit on it. It's got that vibe.
Yeah.
Like this is one of those kind of albums for me, like just in the two songs that should have like the Steve Wilson 7.1 surround treatment to it.
Yeah.
To really get it.
Imperium and Kaisarian are the two open. They use Imperium as their sort of almost their you wanted the best, you got the best moment on this tour. And they got the big curtain up and all the backlights come up and you can see all the band and everything as they do their intro. And I think the acoustic guitar section at the start is canned, and then they go into the live with the actual electric guitar.
Right.
And then as soon as Kaisarian starts, they drop the curtain and do the explosions and boom and Kiss and Detroit Rock City opening sort of thing. So it really, and it was one of those things. If you've seen the live videos or if you're at the shows, it's a little bit weird because you're kind of like, is this new? Is it new Ghost? Is this just something else? You're not quite sure with it. And then to hear it on the album, it's like, oh, holy fuck yeah! Now I get it. Now I know what's going on.
Yeah. I just want to point out something that the Kiss references so far, all three of our wives have stopped listening to this episode when it goes live by about now.
Yep. Pretty much.
Thanks for your support, ladies.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people that are watching that hate Gene Simmons that are like, I'm not doing this, eh?
Yep. Tabad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ghost is very much a modern day Kiss. It's probably the closest overall that you could sort of say they are.
And to anyone that's going to hate on me for saying this, like, tough shit. If Kiss were like refined musicians, not a rock band, this is what Kiss would have sounded like with Bob Ezrin producing every album as like superior musicians. It's got that, like, I would actually love to hear Ezrin produce Ghost.
Whoa, that'd be something different. That could be interesting.
Yeah. And then it goes into Spillways. So Spillways for me is quite interesting because I think it's probably not going to be everyone's favorite, but now I've listened to it again, I think it pairs, there's like partners as the album goes along. It's almost like in two song blocks. So what about you for Spillways?
Love it. Absolutely love it. Love that chorus. Love the fact that it seems like it goes up 4 octaves just building to the chorus. It starts off real stripped down, and then just up and up and up and up as it goes in. And then awesome hook for the chorus, going from like a minor key to a major key as well. Almost sounds just super very different, very positive sounding for Ghost, which is cool.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because like the start is like "Don't Stop Believing" meets "Runaway" by Bon Jovi.
Yeah,
that's the song I was thinking. I was thinking of a Bon Jovi song, and I was going, meets Bon Jovi meets the Bee Gees with the hit to Journey. But that massive big chorus, that massive big, I'm just going to fuck you with this chorus, and that again, those solos, those iconic Ghost solos are just amazing. The musicianship on this album, on every Ghost album, like, you look at Alice's musicians, you look at Ozzy's musicians, you got some classic people there, but Tobias, he grabs them, he uses them, but my God, the musicianship is phenomenal. And this is a more commercial song, but I love it. It's a 70s rock pop song, which is one of my favorite tracks off the album, which is pretty much every track, but this one, Griffwood, incredible.
Yeah. With that guitar solo as well, the bass line for that is real similar to "Living on a Prayer." got that same sort of progression through it, and it's like, ooh, this is familiar, but it's new. I kind of like this. So I think it's going to go.
Bass sound.
Yeah, the bass is really prominent on this album, which is really nice. Very driving force, which is cool.
It's got that nice little bit of tone to it. It's got that little sort of bit of Green Day-ish sort of that vibe to it. It's really prominent. You're right. It's just every song you can hear it, and they haven't hidden it away, which is awesome.
Yeah,
it's funny for me, like hearing about this, because he's talking about commercial, and I think about the utter crap that gets played on commercial radio, and the amount of songs from say the 70s that just are played ad nauseum. And you could put this in and someone would call up and go, oh, what was that song from the 70s that you've never played before? Yeah. And it could probably sit in a playlist quite well on, say, Triple M.
It's 2022's biggest 1980s album, I think.
Yeah.
Is this album. It's straight out of, and it goes back, I think Prequelle was a little bit more modern sounding with a lot of its stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of modern metal sort of sound to some of those songs. This is just a hair metal album. Like it's again, it's just one of those massive, you could put it to almost any of those 80s vocalists over the top of it, and it'd sound right at home.
I hate labeling anything, but if I had to sort of give someone a vibe, it would be like Saturday Night Fever meets Iron Maiden.
Yeah,
that's where I go.
That's pretty close, yeah.
And go, Mert.
I was going to say the thing with this is like Tobias, as we discussed, takes so many influences from so many bands, but to create something truly, I think it's a ghost sound. To me, it's just is original. It's just the riff changes, the hooks, the choruses. They're all there.
Yeah.
We've heard them somewhere. We're going, well, what band's that, or what's that?
Yeah,
but
especially
truly original, I guess. It's every song is original, even though it's taken from so many influences, which is it's incredible. It's incredible songwriting. It's incredible musicianship. The guy's a genius.
Yeah, you can hear it on almost every song throughout the album as well. You can hear like 5 or 6 different musical influences in each song that he's just like, well, let's try it with this. What if this song was this and it had this kind of a guitar solo, and we'll use the harmonies from this album, and it just kind of all works together in this giant sound.
It's massive.
Yeah.
So what's up next? Call me Little Sunshine. So as I said, I think it's a pigeon pair because Spillways is the Spillways of your soul, and then you've got I Can Save You as a lyric in the next song. So I think it's like a good like both sides of the coin together.
This is where this album, I start to have a couple of things that I'm not 100% on with this album.
Mm-hmm.
One is pacing, and B is release. Because you've now got Call Me Little Sunshine, which was released as a single about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. And you've got Hunter's Moon, which was released as a single 5 months ago for the release of Halloween Kills. And these two songs are real slow and stop the album dead in its fucking tracks for me. And I was worried about, because they're very, very slow songs. They're good, but to go from something that's so high energy and go into 2 songs that are just fairly not fresh, I guess, is a big thing with it. It's something that if you're a Ghost fan, you've already heard them both. You've already played them for as long as they've been out. And it just kind of stopped for me. That being said, Call Me Little Sunshine is very reminiscent of like the Ghost, the Infestissimum era and the very tail end of Opus Eponymous. It's this is the most Satan you get on this album, I think, which is really, really cool. And that classic Ghost use of a word that isn't Satan, but it means Satan. Mephistopheles, we'll use that one. That's a different one we can use this time.
Who the hell can write a song and make a lyric at a I can't even say it. Mephistopheles. I mean, seriously, who can put that into and get away with it?
And it's still got that groove to it as well. It's got a really, really evil vibe. It's kind of like driving down a highway on a rainy day, like really dreary, and it's super ominous, driving into that sort of storm, and it's just foreboding through the whole thing. It's a very, very cool song. I think it's weird that it was released as a single of everything else that's on this album. It's probably the most Ghost sounding song, or classic Ghost sounding song, but it just seems like an odd choice to me.
Yeah, it's kind of in the wrong spot.
And
It should have been at the end.
Yep.
Before the album, quite like the second last song.
Mm.
yeah, I think you're spot on with that one too. Both those songs, Hunter's Moon and Call Me to the Sunshine, like both songs when I first heard them, like wow, amazing. But you're right, you got this Spillways and Caesarium, and you get this rock vibe into this full on. Yeah, as you said, like Cerise sort of sounding to me. Ghost chunky riffs, but again, still very melodic, still that whole Tobias melody, and you know everything. When I first heard this song, I thought, "Wow, that's amazing." I wasn't sure what to think of it. Then it goes into this big chorus again, like he's just every fucking song he can turn into this amazing chorus, which makes you want to go back for more. But probably because we've heard it, and maybe that's why. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think those songs sort of drop it down when you got this sort of high vibe going on.
Yeah. Well, Hunter's Moon's next, and it's funny. I loved it as a single, but when you hear it in the sequence, you're right. It just sort of pulls up the tracks really quick.
I mean, I had the single arrive yesterday in the mail, so the actual the 7-inch. Hunter's Moon for me is everything that I could have possibly wanted from Ghost for one very specific reason. Is I fucking love 80s horror movies, and two of my favorite songs are Dream Warriors by Dokken from A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and Alice Cooper's He's Back, The Man Behind the Mask. And I finally got a fucking song for Halloween.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's just done for me. The movie was garbage, but the song was awesome. So that was really cool. And to have something that's as cool as that, something that is as unique sounding for Ghost as well. You've almost got the Halloween theme there as the riff for, I guess, the guitar part of the chorus, because there's not really a chorus to the song. It's got a really interesting vibe for that sort of approach. Should have been a special edition track on the album.
Should have been the bonus?
Should have been, bonus track right at the end after everything else was finished. Shouldn't have been middle of the thing. Shouldn't have been middle of the album, and certainly not after it's been out for 5 months. It felt, having Call Me a Little Sunshine and then Hunter's Moon felt like you'd just hit a Ghost playlist on Spotify. And they didn't really feel like they flowed together. They were just kind of like, here's a Ghost song and here's another Ghost song. So, yeah, it was one of those weird things with it. And I guess it's just because I have admittedly played that song to death. I've played it a lot. But yeah, it just sort of flows really weirdly for the midsection, almost the midsection on an album.
Yeah, if Halloween had a soundtrack, this would be it. Literally, it's it just hits it full on. This song, like you, Curt, played it to death. It's amazing. It's more of a, the more I get out of it, it's an incredible song. And again, tight riffs, you know, that melody again. But yeah, like you, Alice Cooper, Man Behind the Mask. It's just that horror movie. Being a fan as well. Yeah, Hunter's Moon. If Halloween, that's hit the nail on the head with that song. But again, it just brings it down a notch. But incredible song nevertheless, and incredible film clip, which has just got that.
Oh yeah!
First time I watched the film clip,
real creepy.
This has got a Halloween vibe for it. Not knowing anything about the film clip, first sort of into it, I'm going, this has got a Halloween feel. Then it's like, oh, wake up, big It's
yep.
The bit of the spooky shit put in between. So it was kick-ass.
It's one of the interesting things as well is the song was written specifically for the song was an idea that Tobias had, and he was contacted by the crew from Halloween to write the song or to write a song for the credits. And so he had that sort of fleshed out for when the movie originally was meant to release, which was 2020. So it's been in the can and done since like August of 2020. It's been sitting there for nearly 2 years now, which makes it, again, weirder still that it's so prominent in the middle of the album for something like that. And I can understand wanting to tack it in there or have it in, maybe not tack it in, but have it as part of that. But yeah, it's just one of those things of like, it's not necessarily a new song. Why is it as prolific there as it is when you're going to release another 3 songs off the album?
Yeah, Yeah,
So,
no, it just
that's the wheels at this point, the wheels sort of came off for me. I was like, it's a little bit weird. When are we going to get some new stuff on a brand new album? It's like, okay, that's different. Okay.
Well, then you go to Watcher in the Sky.
Fucking
It's got a great riff. Like the riff is outstanding in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the song that made me understand the new Ghoul masks. And I know a lot of my friends are sick of hearing me rant about, fuck, they screwed that fucking up. It looks terrible and balls. I hate it. Because they got these weird leather gas mask looking things with the goggles and tubes and shit. And you've gone from something that's as elegant and you know, really, really fucking cool and still kind of spooky as this. And then the Meliora masks with the chins that are just my favorite mask design in music ever. To basically, they're made by the same guy that made like Sid's masks from Slipknot, and it just kind of looks like Slipknot masks. It's real similar to some of those designs, and I was like, it's crap. Then I heard this song, and I was like, fuck, now I understand. That's it, we're done. Cool, good work, Toby.
What about you, Mert?
Oh, look, yeah, killer riff. When I first heard this song, it was like not skipping like through when we heard the other couple of songs. This was fresh again. It sort of went bang again, you know. Killer intro riff, killer verses. The verses are amazing in this song, and I can't get enough of that riff. I guess it's uniquely different. It's something about it. It's a repetition of obviously the lyrics a little bit, but it's just big. It's I don't know. It's just 80s. It's just 70s, 80s, and I don't know, something again off a Journey album or a Boston album or something like this. Big
I got big Separate Ways vibes from the start as
that's
a
it. Exactly
right.
And I was like, oh, okay, it's got that stomping that dun 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 dun. It's a stomper of a song, and this was the point of the album that was like, holy fuck, this album has a huge soundscape. It sounds massive.
Yeah,
that was the point. I was like, fuck, okay, cool. This is where we're at.
I think that's the thing for me coming in as the noob to understand is everyone takes something different out of an album. Like I'm the melody guy and I'm the production guy. Like as we were discussing the Slash album before we came on, and that took me a lot to get used to because it's so raw, so dry. There's mistakes in it. And, you know, when you go, even though I love it, it's a great album. When you go from something as dry and raw to something as slick as this, which is the slickness of this is like the slickness of the last two Slash albums.
Yeah.
So I kind of immediately get captured because as someone that grew up with 80s hair metal and 70s disco, even though they didn't have all the computerized shit helping them then, they still made massive sounding records. Like, okay, let's get a 24-track machine of just backing vocals and duplicate it until we sound like 100 people are singing on this song. And for me, actually on all this album, I don't know how the drums were done, but it's like they played a real drum kit for me and then got some of those Simmons pads and played over the top on the Simmons pads.
Yeah.
Some sort of keyboard sample for like 80s cannons.
Yeah.
It's just got that.
The drum sound is huge, especially on this track. It's massive.
It's like Creatures of the Night had sex with a Casio keyboard.
Yeah, pretty much. That kind of nails it.
Yeah, because there's the space. There's the big space in the drums, but then you hear the pings and the hits. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Tobias will listen to this and go, those Australian bastards are like having a go at my drums and tell us exactly what it is. But like to me, I hear the 80s drums, but with that sampled almost, sorry, Tobias, but Duran Duran.
Yeah.
Hungry like a wolf.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very early MTV's generation kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that sort of 80s pop influence and a lot of maybe just real subtle points of it where he's been like, okay, cool. Well, they did still have massive, they may not have been, guitar driven songs, but that massive sort of sound, that massive sort of attitude that a lot of it had. It's like, can we use that? You really get that a lot, especially on some of these tracks. Super heavily on Prequelle as well. Being a more metal album, you get a lot of real subtleties that he's thrown in so that it's got that, it's not just a bunch of guitars up on stage.
Yeah, and that's the thing, the guitar vibe has some of that. I feel like we're throwing so many like labels at it when we're not, because it's you can hear it picks from everything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
To be able to understand this whole Zoom call, you've got to have like 45 combined years of experience trying to break down specific minutiae in these albums.
I love when I make dumb shit analogies, and I'm going to make a really dumb shit analogy.
Oh, okay.
So if Ghost was a Christmas tree, all of his influences would be the little decorations.
Yep.
They're spread out fucking everywhere.
Yeah, it's the embellishments and everything that just makes it.
So I'd love to know who his influences are, because to me, there's a couple of songs I'm like, it sounds like he had Warren DeMartini come in and had that like rat sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like that real trashy rat sound, which is a great guitar sound.
Yeah,
a lot of influence. He had a strong punk influence as well. But as he said, like Eurythmics to punk to metal to a bit of everything. His influences, and he had a massive punk, like the Dickies, the Damned, like all those punk bands, and that sort of he used that for his own vocals as well, like to assist him in his melodies and the way he sings. So I know that was massive for him, and obviously the whole growing up, apparently he had lots of different influences around him, music being played, where he gets his diversity from. So that makes a lot of sense, obviously, in this and Ghost overall.
Absolutely.
Next, do we do Dominion?
There's one thing that I got from this. Just one thing I got from this. It's fucking Close Encounters of the Third Kind. All I got. The whole thing is just playing the fucking melody back to the aliens. That's all this song was for me.
Right.
Good. I liked it. It's I think the little musical interludes, there's a couple of them that are just wasted space on this album. And this was one of them. It just did nothing for me.
I thought about this, and I thought about the whole album. Then I thought about literally a musical, a stage show. And, we talked about Hunter's Moon, we talked about Call Me Little Sunshine, but I picture that. And the next track, obviously coming after the little intermission at the Millennium, the 20s, is almost like this whole massive stage show, this musical, this big drama, that's this big production, this big sound. I can see it being pushed out into something bigger. Like, obviously the stage shows are huge, but I don't know if we talked about it earlier, where it drops the album down with those couple of heavy songs. But I don't know. I don't know if that was deliberate or not. I'm starting to this whole album makes me rethink things. So this little intermission hits up the next song. 20s. I'm going to take that away from you, Andrew. So again, latest single, I guess. Is it a single or another release?
I think they got a lyric video, so I guess it's a single.
Yes, a single. But yeah, totally different. I didn't like it when I first. This is really odd. This is really weird. Now I fucking love it. I just love it. Usually this is I hear something straight up and I love it anyway. But this one was like, oh wow, this is really different. It reminds me of he's I don't know. He's leading an army. He's preaching. He's inspiring. It's like something that's happening. I don't know if it's got anything. I don't even know the lyrics to this song, but it's reminds me of like early Prohibition. And he's just come on, we're gonna. Inspiring, getting ready for this massive fight, like something about it. It's this all musical stage show for me. It's just big metal Avantasia. It's just that's what I get from this. It's massive riffs. The drums are incredible. Look, again, it's just the more I listen to it, the more I absolutely fucking love this song.
Yeah, this was I think Dominion. You definitely needed Dominion as a bit of a palate cleanser to get into 20s. And it was one of those things that I thought about of like, why is Dominion so just, it sort of starts, and I realized that the huge lead out, like Watcher in the Sky's got this huge outro, like it goes for like a minute of outro as it fades out. It's dead center of the album. That's flip to side B at the end of that song. It's like, oh, okay, and now we've got Dominion going in. And 20s is where I start getting a lot of the in a lot of the interviews with Tobias, he's talking about his influences for this album and it being like the rise and fall of empires, specifically politics. This is just a campaign trail, but it's a, sorry to anybody that's a Trump supporter, this is a Trump campaign trail promise video. And it's the lines of like, listen up, you motherfuckers, these Ivy League dopes, they want to mock us, tell them all this is war and not fighting a war is for suckers. And it's like, okay, cool. It's like, so that, yeah, no, just straight out, yep, they're the enemy, we're going to fuck them up. And then for all of that, and then you've got the, you know, grabbing them all by the hoo-has line in the middle of that chorus. It's like, it's getting pretty pointed there. Okay. Which was, yeah, it was really, really cool. There's a lot of really interesting lines in this song that I didn't get first listen, but like third and fourth listens through, especially looking at like the lyrics of it, it's like, this is getting heated. Okay, cool. But the rhythm just makes you want to dance. It's almost a Shakira rhythm. Like you could mix it with Hips Don't Lie and it's going to work perfectly. It's just a really
mashup. Really
interesting vibe to it with that as well. And especially with that big brass intro to it, it's sort of very, very different to anything else that like Ghost has put out.
Darkness at the Heart of My Love is next. And this is a fucking Alice Cooper song if ever I've heard it. It's so sarcastic. It's literally like when Alice came back.
Yeah.
And a bit of this, like it's, you could put it next to something like Cold Ethel for sarcasm.
Yeah, it's very tongue in cheek. Very.
And that's the thing is that play on words. There's lots of play on words. There's lots of hidden meaning in it that you've got to give it a couple of listens. I'm going to sound completely weird and say it's probably in my top 2 for the album because I just love the silliness of it.
It almost sounds like this album could be split up into 2 solid albums. You could have the heavy stuff, and then you could have like the stuff like Kaisarian and Spillways and Darkness at the Heart. You know, right up on the other album. It's like 2 completely polar opposites, and I like that sort of goes straight from something like 20s, which is just like, holy fuck, what the fuck was that? To this is what the fuck is this? It's very, very different, very cool. I got big. I think I tried to describe it as folk music dubstep for that first verse when it like punches in. They got the weird reverb on the guitars. I was like, I'm not sure how to feel about that. That's cool. Okay, we'll roll with it. So very fun.
Yeah, massive chorus, massive production, just leads up to just grab you by the nuts and go bang. I thought it was a love song. Yeah, call it a love song. You will, but it's fucking massive. And the chorus is huge. Another great solos again. Melodic solos, typical. Yeah, just a song. But you said tongue in cheek. Totally agree. Take the Piss love song. That's what I write. This one. Take the Piss love song.
Yeah, but it is like so many people are going to take something different out of it and probably think that the guy that wrote it some sort of weird creeper, which he might be. That's that his character is. And so like it's going to probably be, I think it's going to be a live staple and it's going to probably be a centerpiece. Now I'm going to go to the live show momentarily. So as the Ghost noob, basically the whole idea is at the end of each tour or cycle, they kill off a pupper.
Yes.
Now, do they normally do that live with a album track, or is it just more like it's like a scene or a mood music when they do it? Well,
it's sort of different for every era. There's no sort of staple thing to it. I know I don't quite remember with Papa. I think when they swapped from Papa 1 to Papa 2, Papa 2 just walked out and they started playing, Papa 1 walked off and Papa 2 walked out and they started playing Secular Haze. I think was the first one that they did off that. And it was just like, at this gig, it just happened. There was a bit of just ambient music when they swapped from Papa 2 to Papa 3. And there's this nice little handoff. It was really adorable and, super cool. think they played more than the new songs. And then for Papa 3, he got dragged kicking and screaming off stage. They stopped the show halfway through the outro for Monstrance Clock. All the house lights went up. 2 security guys came up as Papa's out the front, waxing lyrical. They grab him by the arms and drag him off stage. And then super ominous music comes out, and Papa Emeritus nil, or Papa Emeritus 0, as he introduced himself for that. This old feeble dude in white robes, the hat and the skull paint and whited out contact lensed eyes, and 2 security dudes wheeling him out with an oxygen tank as he comes out and in Latin says, "I'm Papa Emeritus 0, the dark ages have begun." And then we got nothing until Cardinal Copia. The Papas didn't get killed off at the end of those shows. The live video, or their video series, shows 1, 2, and 3 playing Uno, and then they get killed off in that, and now displayed for the VIPs at the show in Stalin-like coffins with the full robes and makeup and everything. It's very, very weird. Papa Emeritus 4, our current reigning Papa, is Cardinal Copia once he's earned his corpse paint. So I don't know whether they'll kill him. He seems to be very popular.
It just seems to me like, I know it sounds really silly, but this song for me, I think it might end up having a lot to do with what happens to him at the end of the tour, if anything. It's just got a weird.
There's a vibe there, very specific, sort of like, this is here for a reason.
Yeah, it is like, and I take it back to a lot of those 70s albums where you get those few sleeper tracks, especially on side 2, where you can tell either how many drugs the band were doing or how little they cared. Because like, so you get that side 2 where you're like, oh, that's a weird cover of a bad 60s song that you've redone. But then you'll get that 1 or 2, like track 8, track 9, that are just ball terrors. And for me, not that there's that kind of dead wood on this side, because it is. You're right. It's like a vinyl album. It's done deliberately, but this one's just got that sleeper. It's got something about it. I don't know what it is. I love it. Because then it leads into Griffwood, which there's something there.
Yeah, that's where you see a lot of the. Tobias was in one of the big Swedish sleaze bands for a little bit of time back in like 2008, 2007, back in their first incarnation, which was Crash Diet, which, he's played in that as a character called Mary Gore, parody of Gary Moore. So awesome fun. I could see so much influence from that. You could hear Crazy Licks record this. You could hear Crash Diet do it. You could hear Reckless Love do it. You could hear Heat do it. Any of those guys, it'd sound fucking flawless. Massive, big, ABBA choruses. You got to have that. I heard the opening guitar riff for it. And I'm like, fuck, it's done. Best song in the album. There we go. Calling it now. And it just keeps building and building. It's that big, the most hair metal song they've ever done. I love every bit of it. Not a bad word to say about it. Just fucking love this. I want to hear it live.
And this was the one where Mert ran out of Kleenex.
Oh mate, yeah, totally. This is 7 all over for me. This is 80s metal. This is something Def Leppard should have had on their album. This is like so many influences. Such a great bass sound. Great song. Pre-chorus, chorus, massive. Doesn't get any better. You can play it. We talked about commercial bullshit radio, mainstream radio. You can slip it in there, and I'm sure someone's going to ring up and go, "What the fuck's that? I want to hear it again." Again, I discussed earlier that Dance Macabre, and this reminds me of that. First time I heard that, I went, "Wow!" I love 80s glam, sleaze, rock. I love thrash. I love death. I love Metallica. I love everything. But this to me is just iconic. It's the shit I like. It's got everything. Totally agree with you guys. With you, Curt, it's the best song off the album for me. And it's, I just want more of it. It's just, can't wait to see it live. It's just, agree. Yeah. Totally. The best song I've heard in a long, long, long time. And each song in this album is unique, but that one got repeated a few times.
Well, it's an interesting thing that they've done with it as well, is it got released this morning as, it either got released on the Spotify or got leaked, I think. which makes it the 4th or 5th track off this album that they've put out, which is really, really weird for a 12-track album with 3 instrumentals. I thought was really, really odd. I'm just going to double check and see if it is, because I know I had a few people be like, holy fuck, this song's great. And it's like, the album dropped? What happened? So,
as I said, I've ordered about 3 or 4 different copies of the vinyl. So this song's going to be over and over again. I think we've got green, we've got white, blue, gold, silver.
Oh, yeah, there's like 15 different variants already across the thing. It's like, you can see why they did the fade out for the halfway through the record thing. It's the dominant format for it. So,
as I said, this bad boy's going to be on repeat a few times. I think I'm going to wear the groove vinyl.
Yeah, it'll be just like this. You'll have this little 3-inch puck sitting there where it's just ground straight through it.
Thanks for bringing a ghost puck.
I've got they brought out the 7 inches of Satanic Panic 7-inch record. They actually brought out the little the adapter, little spindle thing, and it's got little penises for the 7 inches of Satanic Panic. Each prong is a little cock head. It's great. I ordered 2 of them. They're awesome. I got one in the display case. It's the weirdest fucking thing. So yeah, there you go. Excellent. You can sit your record around that once you've worn the groove out of it.
Your ghost cock now.
Yeah, man. They've done the dildos. They've done the dildos with Papa Emeritus's head with his mitre as the head of the dildo. It was the Phallus Mortis box set. Came in black and gold.
Right.
So the box set had a butt plug too. It had a little ghost crucifix. They've done some weird shit. They're doing the same level of merchandising as Kiss is, which I really, as a Kiss fan, it's like, oh, okay, cool. You've got the action figures. You've got a couple of different types of the action figures. You got the Halloween masks, which is awesome. They've got their signature guitars, dildos, cassette tapes. They did a run of 8-track tapes for their last album. You can get the album on 8-track in like 8 or 9 different formats. It's fucking ridiculous. And then
you just got to find an 8-track player.
Yeah, that's why I didn't collect it. It's just like, no, I don't need it. So yeah, good shit. I mean, you can definitely see the Kiss influence in the Tobias's love of Kiss when it comes to, hey, can we slap our name on this?
Yeah.
So I'm here for it.
And clearly he's trademarked it, or else Gene would have been putting out Ghost merch by now.
Yeah, right.
All right. Bite of Passage next.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's a cool little palate cleanser again. The instrumentals for this album kind of bum me just a little bit because their use in Prequelle was so good. I feel like they're almost here because it feels like a Ghost album needs a couple of instrumentals. I feel like it should have just been an extended intro to Respite on the Spitalfield. As you said, it doesn't feel like it should be a separate track. But it's cool. Interesting. It's got that really nice sort of vibe to it as it kicks into the next song. So.
All right.
Yeah, totally agree. I think it just should go straight into the next song. It's just sort of one of the same. Just a little build up into the massive, big, epic anthem, which is going to end the album. So, yeah, totally agree on that one.
So where do you go on that album closer?
Oh, man. Epic. I can see this being played live. I can see it just being massive, the sound being massive. It's almost... it's a goodbye tale for me. It's like, thanks for everything. This almost 7-minute cracker of a song. It's just an epic closing show. I just see this in a big arena. Before they come back out for the encore and do a couple more songs.
That's where I put it. Yeah.
Yeah. This wouldn't be it's almost like, for me, it's like, thank you. Thanks for the album. This is, see you guys next time. That's what I get out of it. It's just epic. It's fucking massive, man. It's just like
it's a huge sound.
Song is great. Yeah, it's just that's it. I got nothing. But yeah, it's a masterpiece. It's a rock arena masterpiece of a song. Say rock arena. The whole Ghost vibe, the whole Ghost feel, the whole stage show. It's a rock arena musical genius masterpiece of songwriting and musicianship, and it's just ends the album beautifully, and it just leaves you, wanting to put it back on repeat or wanting more and going, shit, I have to wait another 12 months for another album or more, so, but
yeah. I get huge Whitesnake in the Still of the Night. As the album version, you get that real big middle section in there. I get massive Whitesnake vibes from this song.
Yeah.
Again, it's a very, almost like a more mature hair metal for this. Very, very AOR sounding, massive sound. Took a little bit for me to get into it. It sort of hits just a little bit odd to begin with, and then just evolves as the song goes in. And I'd be surprised if this doesn't become the new Monster and Squawk for Ghost as their sort of outro song.
Yeah.
Especially if they're playing sort of 2-hour long sets, you could absolutely see this as their final song in the set. As the confetti rains down from the ceilings and the squibs are going off as it's all hitting, and come out to do their bows as they're all playing, I could absolutely see it happening.
Yeah, this is for me. It's the bow wrap into "We Are the Champions" kind of thing for me.
Yeah, it's just as an album closer, fucking spectacular.
Yeah,
really, really, really cool. So great.
Now, there's no rumors that I know of. I don't know if any of you know of rumors, but I reckon we're gonna see them here surely by the end of 2023.
I'd love to say yeah. I don't think so.
No.
Meliora was a massive album, and Square Hammer was a gigantic single, and we didn't get them on that tour. The only reason we got them on the Prequelle tour is they were out for download.
Yeah, I don't see them headlining. I see them on a festival.
I'm bold of you to assume we're going to have festivals in 2023. I would love to see them back out. They're the sort of band where I won't hold my breath for the next time to see them. I think while their tour was really, really well received, they were out here in 2014, 2015, and then not back out here until 2019 or 2018, or was it not 2019? So like a huge gap, 3 albums, or basically in that time. If it happens, it happens, I guess.
How would you feel about them opening for someone so like Slipknot?
I think it'd be garbage to have them opening for somebody like Slipknot. You'd have to have a very specific band that they open for. I mean, they've done Iron Maiden, and that seems like a pretty good match.
Yep.
There's such a varied sound that a lot of metal bands that they could open for, half of their songs they're going to get booed throughout because people just don't quite get it. Is one of the big things. You see a lot of classic metalheads being like, "No, Ghost is shit," because it's not metal. They're not trying to be a metal band, but he wears the corpse paint. No, he doesn't. I could see them opening for somebody like Alice Cooper. Would probably be the most appropriate band I could think of that they could sort of open for. Maybe even Kiss, but I feel like with how Kiss is, obviously that's not going to happen. I could see them. They'd be the sort of band that'd go out as an opening band for Kiss and then get kicked off the tour 5 shows in.
Yeah.
Just they're that kind of a vibe for it. I think Alice would probably be the closest you could do that would have any sort of a response that would be appropriate, I guess.
Look, I don't know. For me, I see them on a festival down here. Like, we're probably waiting on good things for this year. I've heard it is going ahead. I've heard the lineup's confirmed. I don't know who's on it, but I could see them probably doing like a second stage headliner. Yeah,
I think they're definitely the vibe for it is absolutely festival. That's great. Downside is that if they come out on a festival, you're probably going to have the same thing that we got last time, which is a stripped down show at a smaller venue for sideshows. And I think they're the sort of band now where you really need to see them in an arena with all of their tricks and everything that they can offer.
And I'm going to be completely anti-rock fan right now because I love when bands I love come out and generally do sideshows because that's when I get to see the full set. But considering how little we've had in the way of live music, I'd love just to see a shit ton of festivals and no sideshows and just come out with 40 bands and just blister for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And then just go on and do your thing. And then in the next couple of years, they come back and do headline runs. What about you, Mert? Like live-wise, what are you thinking?
I totally agree with you. Like the festival scene, I think, would suit Ghost down to the ground as much as I'd love to see him in an arena and so forth. But yeah, I think the Volbeat tour, that'll be awesome. I'd love to see Volbeat as well. So that sort of thing. I think the festival thing's the way to go, and I'd love to see that happen, more of that to build up, hit the nail on the head. I think, to get our music back, to get a little taster, to get some confidence back in the industry, and in this country and so forth, and bring a few bands over and not be scared to do what we need to do, to get that confidence back in the music. And look, Download was awesome. That was great. The only clash to that is what band are you going to see? You have to pick and choose. And that was the case with Ghost and Slayer for me. But I caught a bit of Anthrax, caught a bit of Priest, and it was good. It was a great vibe, and it was a good fun vibe. Everyone was pretty cool. So if we had more of that, I'm all for it. Side shows are great, but yeah, I'd love to see Ghost do a full-on stadium show. But I don't know about the Australian public whether they'll take to that or not. So who knows? I think you said earlier, Curt, like the diehard metalheads. There's a lot of Ghost haters out there. And I didn't give them the time of day in the early days. I wish, I'll kick myself now. And I think this album will be a game changer. I think they're going to go, you can't ignore it anymore. You can't, you hate this. You can't, there's something in this album for everyone. If you dislike this being a true, hard rocker, a true child of the 80s, a true metalhead, or whatever you want to call yourself, I think it needs a listen. You'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so we reckon this one is the one, like it's going to still be on people's lists at the end of 2022. It's going to be up there. Like we don't know what's coming for the rest of 2022 music-wise, but, do you see it being one of those album of the year kind of things?
I don't. And I don't specifically because there's a couple of tracks on here that aren't fresh, that, people are familiar with. The midsection of the album does kind of feel like just a playlist of Ghost rather than an album. The individual songs are all spectacular. The high points are incredibly high with this album. And then anything that sort of isn't at that top level is way down middle of the road. And it's almost distracting to listen through. Whereas Prequelle was an album you could put on any track and every track is stellar, but you start it from beginning to end and it plays through as almost a concept album. And it was a very coherent album cover to cover. I don't think this album's got it. I think the songs are great and I love the experimentation and how different a lot of stuff is. I don't think it's got it in it to be super lasting as far as Ghost stuff is. I think just because it's a little bit disjointed and it doesn't quite flow as well as it could.
No?
Look, I totally agree with that, but I totally disagree. It's going to be on my playlist, I think, for a long time. It's probably one of the, probably because I've been waiting for this for so long, it's probably one of the freshest things I've heard for a long time. I hesitate to say, I almost get bored with music because there's nothing, listening to that Slash album a couple of times, it's like, man, yeah, I get it. That was amazing. Like, that's one of the top albums for me now. But this, for me, the build up to this, hearing every song, I'm still calling that musical. I'm still calling a stage show. I'm still think Tobias is the dude who would do something like that, and he does it anyway. But I'm just, something about this album. Every song is different. Every song is original, although taken from a million different influences. I repeat myself there, but it's a cracker, absolute cracker. Will I continue to listen to it? Will I bash it on Friday? Will it last a few months? Will it go after a week? I don't know. But yeah, I think it's a corker. It's up there with one of my favourite Ghost albums. I hesitate to say if not my favourite. And Prequelle, yeah, you're right. That was an absolute classic. But no, for me, it's up there. very much so.
It's absolutely got some of the best songs that they've put out and some of the catchiest hooks that they've done, which is just like, I mean, for Kayserian, good luck not blowing, the speed limit out of the water driving down the coast. Like at dusk, that's a pedal to the metal kind of song. And a lot of the songs are that, which is great. I think the high points are incredible. It is let down just a little bit from pacing, which is sort of, it's an odd choice after how well the last album was done. And even, I mean, again, I may give it a listen through on Friday and completely change my opinion on that. It's just the vibe that I get from it. It was just a little bit disjointed, I think. So,
all right. Before I let you go, we're going to do like a quick music-y chat kind of thing for a couple of minutes. There's been a few things going recently, like the most obvious thing that we all waited to get announced was the Foo Fighters today. Like you'd come to Australia and play one gig and not announce a tour. It was like ridiculously obvious. So that they're back in November and December. And look, people give them shit. It's like the same way I give Nickelback shit, but they're not Nickelback. I personally can't wait for the Foo Fighters because they don't give a fuck.
Show.
Yeah,
it's a huge stadium show, and it's impossible to hate Dave Grohl.
Yeah,
he's too likable.
Are we all going for that one? Do you think everyone in for that?
I'll go for it. It's just an opportunity to see a band. Holy fuck, what's that?
And then we've got, I believe we're days off an announcement for a new Five Finger Death Punch. They've done a couple of teasers. Now, Death Punch are that band that you either love or hate. Like, I loved when they did the double album, when they had Halford, Wrong Side of Heaven, Right Side of Hell. Like, to me, that was great. It's weird they've become this sort of, no offense to them, but they've become a bit of a weird country metal act recently and have got a bit of that 6 a.m. recovery song vibe to them.
I'm not a fan of Five Finger Death Punch. They remind me of a lot of people that I know in the States that are constantly got to say that they're the most badass dude in the room. It's just the vibe I get from them. It's just like the kind of guy that'll throw down because you looked at his truck wrong is the vibe that I get, and it's not fun. It's not for me. But I'm cool to see a big band like that.
Yeah,
they are quite big in the States.
Huge.
And I know a few people here that are massive. I mean, fuck, they've got a licensed Halloween mask too.
Wow.
Right. I'm keen as hell to see any sort of tour that comes here that's got any sort of bite or edge to it will be awesome.
We had the release of the Kiss documentary on Blu-ray in Australia.
Friday. Give that a watch.
If you haven't seen it, now you can get it on Blu-ray, and I'm really hoping nothing has been cut from it from the American release because it's pretty tasty. I'd love if all the bonus footage is on, like, there's they did a full day of interviewing Eric Carr's girlfriend, and none of the footage made the final cut. So enough to say what kind of stuff got spoken about there. Yeah,
that'd be some sordid details.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And on that Kiss front, or kind of Kiss-related front, the Union releases are now officially sold out.
Yeah, that went well. They did good on that.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so that was good. So I think they all sold out in 8 hours.
Wow.
And there'll be another announcement coming soon, so that'll be nice. I'll leave it at that. In the pipeline for the next month or two regarding Union. So, and Bruce Kulick just announced for the Kiss cruise yet again.
The cruise basically he may as well be staff on the ship at this point.
The cruise that you go on when you want to hear the Kiss songs played better than Kiss.
Yep.
He has a very stellar band with him. I really hope that they literally record live off the board on the ship or in the theater, wherever they are, and put it out like a live souvenir because they play the songs well. What else is coming up this Saturday? At Eaton's Hill, Spring Loaded. 2.0 because we had the one last year. So this will be with some of the bands that didn't get to make it due to Melbourne bands not being able to get through. So like, and also Regurgitator are playing.
Sweet.
So it's Grinners, Friends of Rom, The Meanies, Magic Dirt, Caligula. So that's at the outdoor at Eaton's.
Yeah.
Then you've got the week after that, for those who might like it a little milder, I think it's called the Wildflower Festival. So it's like, Casey Chambers and people like that playing River Stage. And then they will have arrived by the time this goes to air, but they arrive tomorrow. All of the Under the Southern Stars bands are on their way. So by the time this goes to air, they'll be here. But yeah, they'll be here in about 12 hours. So
nice.
Cheap Trick, Bush and Stone Temple Pilots all coming in together.
Nice.
And Here to Zen will be at the official press conference in Sydney on Wednesday. We'll be well represented.
I was waiting to hear the Zen will be at the airport waiting for them to jump them as soon as they land.
Yeah, to get a restraining order.
Yeah, no masks, no social distancing, just going ham. It'll be great.
Yeah, so Haley will be representing at the press conference. He's flying into Sydney on Wednesday to do that. And then, it's on like Donkey Kong for Under the Southern Stars. We're really hoping that the latest news I heard today, they're hoping Sydney starts to dry out because the first show is Friday and it's outdoors and it's wet.
Fuck.
So it's in Maitland, so just in Newcastle. So there is an indoor venue that they can hopefully get access to and switch to, but
otherwise you get all the fun of Glastonbury without leaving New South Wales.
Yeah. So that's, I know, Mert, you're thinking of hitting up, I think, one of the shows.
Yeah, down the coast. I'm looking forward to that. So that'll be fun. Work commitments, unfortunately, can't get another one in, but still thinking about River Stage as well. So, look, I think all this stuff is pretty awesome.
Yeah. What about you, Curt? You gonna try for an Under the Southern Stars?
Probably not, unfortunately. I don't think work commitments are going to allow me to, but I'll see. I'll always try and wrangle it. So,
well, you've got the 25th, 26th, and 27th to choose from. So you've got.
I don't know. Maybe.
Is the which one? You're going to the Goldie, aren't you? No.
Yeah, Gold Coast. That's on a Saturday. That'll work out well. So
yeah. So
home to Brisbane after the gig. So, but yeah, that'll be cool. That'll be a good day out.
Yeah. So Sunshine Coast is the Friday. Gold Coast is the Saturday. And River Stage is the Sunday, and River Stage is the last show of the tour. So I reckon there might, if you're going to hit one,
hit up the River Stage.
Hit that, because I reckon there's going to be some jams.
Ooh.
We are.
I do like Cheap Trick, so.
And I've missed them both times I've recently toured here.
Yeah, right.
The last two times.
I think the last time was at the Tivoli, wasn't it? Because I reported that one, yeah.
And I was with Skid Row.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was a good show.
Skid Row.
Cheap Trick was great. Cheap Trick was great.
I hated you telling me that.
Yeah.
Look, Skid's ruled. Skid's lay.
Yeah, but Cheap Trick is Cheap Trick.
I know.
I saw Cheap Trick once back in Tassie when they supported the Beyond Salvation tour from the Angels. Angels was massive. Never was an Angels fan back then. That converted me, really. I can't believe why I wasn't, again, by Ghost. But yeah, Cheap Trick supported the Angels on that tour. I don't even know what year it was. Whatever Beyond Salvation, when was that? What year was that? Don't know. But a long time ago when I was young. Fucking amazing. Obviously, The Flame had just been released, so it was massive to Cheap Trick. 88, yeah. There you go. Yeah, it was the only time I've seen Cheap Trick. Missed all the other tours in between. So I'm hanging to see him again in a couple of weeks. So it's going to be very cool.
I might even bring out the Cheap Trick style vans for the event and look like a complete stalker.
Do it. Fairly certain I'll be able to track you down a checker suit. You can match it all. It'd be great.
Look, because I've missed the both times, and I'm a huge, I was 4 or 5 when Dream Police came out, and my family would routinely watch Countdown. It was that was our religion, Countdown, and just love that song. And the fact that I know that, what is it, like they're doing like 10 or 11 or some ridiculous amount of shows here. The set list will be different every night. They refuse to play the same set list. They've even done ones where Eddie Trunk has just gone up and said, "Can I pick your set list?" And they let him, and they can play it with no rehearsal.
Oh man, that's
yeah.
beautiful.
So if you're on the fence, and to be honest with you, look, Haley loves Bush. She can't wait to see Bush live. I cannot wait to see Stone Temple Pilots with the new singer. He is amazing.
Sounds awesome.
And look, I'm going to say this, I've said this on the big wrap-up for the Under the Southern Stars. If you don't get there early for Electric Mary, the first band on the bill, you're a disappointment as a human being. Like, they are Australia's best, I don't care, they're Australia's best rock band that no one knows. Like, they can go to Europe and tour for 3 months, sold out.
Wow.
They are that good. And everyone should get there for when, I think they kick off at 3 most days. Like, that's their set time. So don't be a wanker if you got the day off work to be at a gig.
Yeah.
Get there and watch all the bands, because we're actually getting live music.
Yeah.
Electric Mary, Rose Tattoo. I mean, seriously, rock royalty. I'm keen on the Tats. So I'm keen on Mary. So
I know you are.
And Stone Temple Pilots as well. Bush are really cool. Haven't heard Bush for a long time, so I'm keen to listen to them, see them live. That's going to be very special. And of course, Cheap Trick. Yeah, great lineup. Should be a fun day.
And it's all rotating, so it's a different headliner every day.
Sick.
Sweet.
Or out of like STP, Bush, and Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're rotating. So it depends what show you're at. It'll say it on the website. You can see who your headliner will be for each set. They're doing an hour each, basically. But
Cool.
Yeah, it should be good. All right, so we're ghosted out. The album's out Friday. And Mert's already bought 722,000 copies of the vinyl. It's gone. He should get a platinum award just for how many he's bought. Are you going to go any of the limited colors just for the collection, Curt?
Possibly. I got the Coke bottle clear version of Prequelle from Utopia Records, because they had their special release. And I don't think any of the colors that they're releasing for this one can match up to just how fucking cool that one looks. Like that classic Coke bottle green. It's like, I'm trying not to look at all of the different colors, because I bought way too many copies of Prequelle and I don't need a fuckload of them. So I don't know. I'll find one really, really cool one and I'll be like, that's it. We'll go that.
Yeah,
we'll buy one.
I think I'll buy one now that I've invested in like a really great quality turntable. Like it's different when you've got like I don't know, dodgy JB Hi-Fi brand, like no name branded turntable with a shitty stylus.
JB, no, it's Kmart all the way.
Cash converters.
Oh, crunchy.
Now I've got a good turntable. I think I might. Just because it's funny, I went away from playing vinyl because I was too lazy to change the sides. I was like, that's shit. I'm going to change the side. Yeah. And then when I realized that before CDs and before streaming, I never complained about turning the record over.
Yep.
So now for me, I go change the record. So it probably will. We've got a bunch of stuff we haven't even listened to, but if you buy it, then you've got it there when you want to listen to it.
Absolutely. I think this is definitely going to be one of those records that you'll hit a mood and be like, no, I got to go and listen to that now. I got to put the whole fucking thing on. Let's go. So.
Yeah, it's funny that I'll leave you guys with this. So part of that listening party, my wife was around. Mm-hmm. And when she heard the last song, all she could think of was Pink Floyd.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
So that's where you go vinyl to me. Like we have a first press quadraphonic of Dark Side of the Moon.
Ooh.
So to me, I go, So to me, you have to come over and hear it.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, I go, that last song with a really good amp and some good speakers is going to have that same kind of vibe.
Yeah.
All right. We have bullshitted for an hour and a half.
Tobias Forge is very interesting. Very interesting. He's great.
So we're 90 minutes in. The wife would have checked out 15 or so in.
Yep, probably.
Let's try and do it next episode. We'll get them to half an hour without any Kiss talk.
Good luck with that.
Maybe you should just do a Kiss episode so they know they don't have to listen.
I mean, we could in the lead up to the tour at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, there's some. We might. Yeah, we might. That's all I'll say.
Sure. There's interesting things to discuss. I'll dig my platform boots out of storage.
Oh, please do.
I'm going to dress up for the last. Going to dress up for the last tour, so I'll do it. Oh, be honking here as Gene Simmons, like half out of frame. Be great.
As long as you come as Gene Simmons on the Tabcorp pad holding a chicken palmy in your hand.
Oh my fucking god! No, I watched that once and was like, "What the fuck?" Not Matt. No, done. No.
You're not allowed in the show unless I see a chicken palmy on a plate in your hand.
Yeah, good luck me having a chicken palmy and not eating it first. Like, fuck. I'm only human. I'm almost human.
Well done. Nice play on words.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's go resume our normal lives.
Yeah, indeed.
Thank you for joining me. See you next time.
Yeah.
See ya.
Thanks for your patience, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Zen Sessions presented by Here to Zen magazine. If you are listening to us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. If you are listening on one of the podcast platforms, please subscribe there. And don't forget to follow Here to Zen magazine on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.